dancing, singing, just waiting to see the spectacle that would be there today at Kasarani as President Uhuru Kenyatta takes oath of office. In studio, I am with Solomon Jenga. He is a governance expert. We'll just be taking a look at from now, what's next? What will we be looking at as far as Uhuru Kenyatta and presidency is concerned, and of course William Ruto deputy presidency is concerned in terms of governing the country, coming in at a time when there are a lot of challenges. Thank you very much, Solomon.
Thank you so much
for coming in.
There's
a lot of color we are seeing on our screens from Kasarani.
Right.
How is it like for you, first as a Kenyan today?
First, as a Kenyan, this is a win for peace. Because we know for the last, I think, some few months, Kenyans have been asking for peace. And the entrance of this day confirms really that, yes, it's a beginning of a new era, and a new era that is also full of some challenges. Because Uhuru Kenyatta's win was contested twice, and there was petition twice. And the first one, we were the High Court, or rather the Supreme Court, decided that it was not Uhuru didn't win fairly. And then we were told again to go on to do. They were commanded really to go and conduct a new election. And this is a new era really, because even in the business community, we have seen a lot of back and forth in terms of business and economy. Really, our economy was going down, and we have witnessed even some people relocating. We have seen the expatriates leaving the country. We have seen even schools being closed, even in universities. We have seen institutions going down because of economic purge and so forth. And I think this is a day that many of Kenyans, me inclusive, were looking for peace. And also for prosperity. But it's also coming at a time when the President Uhuru Kenyatta was elected by the other people will say the simple majority. And there is also a huge number of people outside there and citizens of Kenyans, and they are saying he was not chosen, elected legally, and because of the contestation that was there.
But is this, sorry to cut you short, is this swearing-in ceremony really a guarantee of peace, noting that a significant number of Kenyans led by the NASA principles refused to recognize Uhuru Kenyatta as the president, and very, very disgruntled with how things have been panning out for the past few months, like you say.
Right. I wouldn't say that it's a guarantee for peace, but I will say that it's hope for peace. And the reason why I'm saying it's a guarantee, it's not a guarantee for peace, is because even today we are hearing that there are some people who are not very happy and comfortable. That we cannot guarantee for peace. But in general, there is hope for peace. And I think this is what Kenyans, because when I go on, when I'm on the roads, there is, people are doing their usual business. If that is a guarantee for peace or hope for peace, I will go for it. But there is hope for those who are fearing that Kenya will go into violence, because we have a history of 2007, 2008. We have a history since the introduction of multi-party democracy in 1992, where a day like this, and even before, we have seen bloodshed. Of course, we have seen also our, police, and they have been told that they have killed some people. But the magnitude of the escalation of violence in Kenya is not that widespread. If you look, it's just a pocket of some regions. And I think this is a huge task for the president to really bring people on board. And especially when he is now forming the government, the executive. And I think this is the time that Uhuru need to demonstrate that I am above ethnic background. Because really, we cannot guarantee peace, but there is hope for peace. How will Uhuru Kenyatta conduct his business? How will he appoint his executive? How will he, act firm in terms of corruption? Because in the past, we have seen Uhuru Kenyatta releasing or saying, or rather telling the executive to step aside. But we have also seen an anti-corruption commission that has not been very active, because all those people who are set aside, especially the CSs, those who are set aside, they are now in government, and they were being investigated. I don't want to mention names, but the record is very clear that they were set aside by Uhuru Kenyatta in his let me say, the former government, and then they went out, and I don't know what they did, and now they are in the government, and actually very senior people, even more than what they were, the position they were, because they are in charge of millions and billions of money. They are in charge of many lives and so forth, and yet some of them have not been cleared correctly by the Anti-Corruption Commission. Yes. But again, how will Uhuru Kenyatta even demonstrate to Kenyans that he is above board? And those are some of the things, Akisa, that Uhuru will be battling with in the next 5 years.
You mentioned, Njenga, you mentioned something very important.
Right.
That after this, we'll be looking at how he's going to make appointments, how they're going to select the cabinet.
Right.
NASA legislators have categorically stated that they will not participate in the vetting of cabinet secretaries.
Right.
So then it means hurdles upon hurdles will be on the way for the president.
Agreed. The next 5 years for Uhuru will not be a walk in the park. The only console for him is that he has considerable number in the parliament and in the upper house. And I think that is the comfort that he has in. But also, when it comes on the other side of NASA, I want to believe that NASA, they are playing their opposition role. And really, we need them at a time like this, even to check the government. Because if you, again, Akisa, when you go back to the reason why Matiba and Raila and other people, fought for democracy, a multi-party democracy back in 1990s, in 2000s, and so forth, and even now, it's because there was a monopoly of governments, and the reason why the government, and that is the whole essence of democracy. That democracy, there must be an opposition. And I think the opposition must play its role to make sure that the government is on check. And Uhuru Kenyatta is assuming office in an era that is full of uncertainty, as you have rightly mentioned. Because to govern this country, he also needs that block of the opposition. Because those opposition or NASA, they also represent their own constituency, and those constituencies are not happy. How will Uhuru Kenyatta balance the equilibrium? Because it's not easy. We have seen, and I want to say this categorically, Akisa, that we have seen in the last government, we have seen a lot of tribalism, where even simple appointments, one can only guess that this is either a Kalenjin or a Kikuyu. And this country is not only for the two tribes. This country is for over 43 tribes, And Uhuru Kenyatta need to know that. Because really, by the fact that you have formed the government with two tribes per se, and also the affiliate tribes and so forth, it is the highest time that Uhuru needs to bring on board people who are professional. The government, or rather the constitution in chapter 6, really, the 18 chapters of the constitution really puts a lot of emphasis on matters of governance. And I think that's some of us why we are here, that we need to challenge Uhuru Kenyatta, that the government must be all-inclusive. We don't need the 80% Kikuyu and Kalenjin. Who said that it's only Kikuyus who should form the government? Who said that it's only Kalenjin who should form the government? And who said also, Akisa, that it's the government should be formed by the cronies and the friends and so forth.
And that is a conversation that is leading to
Right.
acts of people wanting to secede, saying that we are not wanted in this government, we are not appreciated in this government, our voice is not heard, has not been heard in this government and previous governments.
Right.
So how do we mend this or avert this dangerous path that we are
Right.
seemingly walking into as a country?
I agreed. It's unfortunate that the seceding theory is gaining momentum. But at the heart of the seceding theory is the idea of people are not happy about governance. People are not happy about how business and how government is being carried along. And for the last 5 years, some of them have evidences. And we can see that the tribalism and so many other things have taken toll. And the reason, even the fair distribution of resources, we envisioned in our constitution, enacted in 2010 and so forth, that, and that came into effect in 2013, that there will be devolution, where almost the central government and the national government role will be devolved. And unfortunately, and allow me to say this, Akisa, that unfortunately we have devolved even the corruption, the vice that beats it all. Because we have seen a mammoth of misuse of finances and money. We have seen from the Auditor General and reports and so forth that even some of the governors have taken their, counter generators to their hotels. We have seen that they have even opened other banks and so forth. So it's unfortunate that the devolution it's coming with its own corruption and its own kids. And this is actually sucking up our development and so forth. The concept of seceding, I will say this. It's a concept that is founded on a community that feels disgruntled. Seceding theory comes from a concept of people saying, what we have seen in government, we cannot take it anymore. You remember even the concept of, this slug of people saying, ya kwamba ni wakati wetu wa kukula. It's nyinyi ni wakati wenyu wa kutema mate, kumeza, tunakula nyama na ni wakati wenyu sasa wa kumeza mate. That should not come from a leader, because that is one of the characteristics of a poor governance and a leader who doesn't have the integrity that the chapter 6 of the Constitution entrenched, because it puts the Constitution puts a very high qualification for a leader. Talking like you own the government, because really the Constitution is very clear that when a leader is, in chapter 6, it's very clear that when a leader is chosen to lead or elected to lead, he is actually assuming the responsibility of the community. And he is not there to show them that he owns the power, but the community owns the power. If you read the Constitution, chapter 1, you'll see that the power of Kenyans, or rather the power of leaders, is bestowed and entrenched in the Constitution. And when the leader comes on board and assumes the responsibility of a leader and fails to do what is supposed to be done, Akisa, I think our leaders, they have a lot. Let me talk about the mammoth corruption.
Yes.
We have seen, and there are records, and it's in public domain, that in the last 5 years, almost 50% of the money that was dispersed didn't fulfill the intended purpose. And where did this money go? It went into various, different pockets of people. Yeah. And really, where will our country go? If you look at the issue of the rate at which corruption, or rather the rate at which unemployment is at it. And that is why, Akisa, we are seeing even young people in the university who have degree in engineering and so forth, they are graduating. We are graduating many students in the university and the colleges. But where are they going? Because the people who are supposed to employ them, they are actually squandering that money. Look at the issue of employment. We have taken the Chinese, and let me say this. Chinese are good people. They are coming in this country with a very high level of competence and so forth. But also, in this country, we have graduates. In this country, we have people who are qualified even to take some of the responsibilities of engineering of our roads and so forth. But even the casual work that we are seeing even on the roads and the infrastructure, it's Chinese who are taking over. Where are those graduates, our students that are graduating from the university? They are not going anywhere. We are not providing for them an employment opportunity, Akisa. And that is why our leaders and the young people, we have seen they are engaging in corruption. Others are engaging in stealing. You heard of the KCB heist in Thika, and the theory has it that the whole deal was hashed by university students who have degree in engineering and other things. The question is, this country continues to train university students, and me, I'm a university lecturer. We continue to train very high-level students. But the question is, when we release them, Akisa, to go out, where do they go? Do we provide them with a mechanism to put into practice the knowledge that you have given them into the university? This government of Uhuru Kenyatta has failed completely to bridge the gap between those who are graduating and with the sharp minds. We have even touts. We have seen even very technical, even in the social media, we have even heard of people who are graduates and they are in prison. And what are they doing in prison? You can always guess that I receive in my phone. I don't know how they get my number, and even you, Akisa, that they have the techno-wise of sending information to people and collecting and gathering money, even while they are in prison, because these are sharp minds. But where is the government? You remember even in the manifesto of Uhuru Kenyatta in the year 2013, and in April 16 of 2013, I listened to Uhuru when he was at Parliament, giving hope to young people. And you remember he came with the concept, this is the government of the .com and the generation. All of a sudden, we saw that he is not bridging the gap of the young people. And where are they going? The vice of those who are educated is increasing. And we are not giving them employment. Instead, we are taking foreigners. We are taking people from outside. In this country, we have so many people who are taking jobs that they are not qualified. And the question is, if you look at even in the cabinet, at the county level, we have balkanized, we have a lot of balkanization of ethnicity. People, the issue of patronage, the issue of uncle, my uncle is a governor. So by default, I will actually take the role as a CS.
Regardless of whether
they are qualified or not. And I want to tell even the 47 governors, we have seen that even at the executive, at the county level, those people were being awarded because not of the qualification. We have seen even in Nyeri and other places where someone who is over 60 years is, chosen or elected to lead the youths. And yet, really, where are the youths? And the youths have said, they have come out clearly, and they are saying, we don't think whether we are represented. And where are these youths going for the next 5 years? Because now the governors have sealed the deal of the county, executive. And many of them, even over 60%. And I want to believe, and I will say this with all due respect, that even those the governors have been appointed, they are not qualified. But where are our young people who are qualified? They have papers.
Okay.